Oops, what happened? Uh-oh. Did I mess up? Uh-oh. I think I messed up, Jeff.
Oops.
I had a warning from YouTube, and I thought I'd just stop and start the stream, and now it doesn't want to restart it. The hell, they just changed everything. Can everybody hear me? Hello? Oh, apparently it's working now. Okay. Can you say something, Jeff?
Yep. Hi there, Joe.
Okay. Seems to be working. Okay. YouTube says it wasn't working. Now it is working. Okay. Live dashboard. Okay. Sorry for the troubles, everybody. I had a small difficulty. YouTube says I wasn't live, and closed the screen and logged back in, and it worked. Go figure. Okay, everybody. Sorry for starting a little bit late today. Today, this is going to be our second coaching session that we have, and I am lucky enough to have Jeff Singletary here. And Jeff is the owner of RJ Honey, a honey farm in Indiana, and he has a pretty decent looking website. And we're going to talk to him about today, help him how to improve his website, hopefully make him a little bit better of a weaver today, and you guys can benefit from it too. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit, Jeff? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm as you said, Joe, I'm a part owner of RJ Honey. I'm the J of RJ Honey. My partner is Richard. We're started the honey business for something to do in retirement, and both Richard and I are retired, and it's a lot of fun. We have about 100 hives, and last year we produced about 4,500 pounds of honey, and we sell it all. And it's a great product. Everybody out there needs to support their local beekeeper. Everyone has a local beekeeper near them, so you need to go buy local honey.
Excellent. You know what? Actually, we keep a jar of local honey, and we just ran out the other day, and my son was yelling at me, so I got to go down to the local honey store and pick up. It's a true story. I'm not joking, everybody. I do have some local honey, and he loves to get we have like one of those little honeycomb scoopers.
Yeah,
and he loves to dip that thing, and he'll like just suck on it. He loves that thing.
It's good for you too.
Yes. And I heard that the local honey, like it's good for like allergies and stuff, especially if it's local, because it like gets the whatever from the
the pollens.
The pollen. Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's worked for us here in Indiana. We used to get terrible sinus headaches in the spring, and before we started doing the beekeeping, and after that, I take my honey medicine every day. So, and my wife nor I have had those kind of headaches since. So, I'll give it the honey.
Sweet.
Thumbs up.
Why don't you give us a little introduction about kind of what some of the feedback you're looking for today, and then we'll jump in and start getting started.
Okay, well, I had to upgrade the site. Our hosting service is GoDaddy, and I think I was doing the call to action, and the call to action didn't work. I posted on your site, and somebody suggested that I think it was the PHP version.
Mm-hmm.
I think the PHP version of the server we were on was, I don't know, 5.2 or something, and somebody said that belongs to the Pleistocene era. What are you doing on a server like that? It needs to be upgraded to 7.1 or 7.2. So I called GoDaddy, and they did a free upgrade on that, and actually it's cheaper. I don't know why, they just whatever. So, but in the process of that, they keep the old site, they renamed the new site, and as we looked at the site yesterday, some of the links got broken. And so you said we can look at that and see how to fix that up for the image links.
Cool.
Also, the call to action won't work that I'm using from your call to action. I'm using Glider, or I tried to use Glider. It works in the website, but it doesn't give any email back to I'm using MailChimp. So it doesn't register the email back to MailChimp.
Okay.
So I have that MailChimp call to action on our site. But I don't like that because it does it once and done for each time. So, I mean, once time. And I like the call to action because your call to action, you have the flexibility to make it, exit, makes it enter, do it once, do it, whatever it is. You have all those options. So I like that a whole lot better. So that was one of the things a couple of things we wanted to look at too. Plus, as I told you, I'm just kind of a Lego builder for Rapid Weaver. I'm not a coder. I'm not a programmer. I don't have any of those things. I just pull in the building blocks and try to make it work. So, whatever things that people may see that kind of make them professionals grit their teeth and say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he did that." Those are kind of things I want us to look at too.
Okay, perfect. So the target of your site, if anyone wants to kind of peruse the site while we're talking, it is rjhoney.com, correct?
Yes.
So yeah, if you want to peruse that, we'll be looking at it throughout the session, but if you want to kind of pull that up, it's rjhoney.com. And I have to say, it's actually a pretty decent website. For just being a Lego builder, you've done a great job. So congratulations there, Jeff. I think you have a great start. You've built a solid foundation for a website, and we'll definitely get you working up a little bit better today. So to get started, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe share my screen, and then I'll just kind of give some initial feedback that I have on your site and some things that we can do. And then later on, we'll jump into some things, and I'll help you implement that call to action that you wanted and stuff like that. So, okay, so let me go ahead and set that up really quick. Let's do this. Okay. Let me share my screen with you. Okay. Can you see that, Jeff?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Okay. So here we are on the homepage. And like I said, I do think that, you've done a pretty decent job, making a nice little website. And I believe you're using the depth theme from Nick Cates on this, correct?
That's correct.
Cool. So I like how you're kind of using obviously kind of colors that are related to honey. You have, your logo is nice. You can't read the small text, but I don't think that really matters. Then you're using kind of a yellow on green, which is kind of like an earthy thing. I guess kind of, it definitely mixes up with honey. I see you have a farm here. And then I love these boxes down here, kind of very modern. They're somewhat a little bit hard to read, some of the text. Just initially it's a little tough because, you have white text on potentially some colored background, and sometimes having text directly on an image makes it a little bit hard to read. But to be honest, like what really matters here is the bold headings. That's what people are going to see. And that's really what you want. Like, if someone wants hours in location, they're going to see that and they're going to click. To be honest with you, no one's probably ever going to read this sentence that you have below this green line. But for a design perspective, it is nice having there. I don't know what controls you have of maybe making the overlays maybe just slightly darker, or maybe that's actually the image that's actually a little bit darker. But if you had some sort of overlay between the text and that background image, it could be nice. Let me head back up to the menu. The biggest thing I see here with the menu is from an accessibility standpoint, having yellow on green. I know a lot of people that's going to be really hard for them to read, right? Because the colors, they don't contrast very well. So, I know a lot of people, like, when I sent out some emails for a while, I was doing like a kind of a colored blue or purple gradient. And then, had like a light gray, kind of a light gray text on top. It looked really nice, right? But it wasn't usable, right? Because it didn't have enough contrast for either people that actually are colorblind, or people with some aging eyes and have some problems seeing, that contrast. So, maybe pick, the green on white is definitely contrasty. But this green on yellow, the yellow on green is definitely, could cause a problem for some people to read. So maybe I would go, and for your yellow, I would maybe pick kind of a more goldish color from your logo to kind of, pull it and make it more, choose a more pleasing color scheme, so that, and maybe you could do something like, like your logo is black on that kind of that yellow, that gold color, right? The honey color. Maybe you can go with something like that, where, this menu, while I do think green is nice, it kind of goes with kind of the farm look. Maybe you go straight up. When I think honey, I think black and gold, right? I think honey, I think bees, and bees are black and gold, right? So maybe think of that as a color scheme. As for your site, maybe pun off that, because black on gold is going to really pop, right? And then green could be a nice accent color, I think, because it definitely is, doing with farming, and you're selling to bee farmers as well, right? Not just straight to the public.
Right.
But definitely, think more of, having more contrasting colors will go a long ways. For this title area, the image, you have text on top of the image. Another thing is, like I said earlier down here, if you can add some sort of like overlay between that to kind of make the text pop a little bit more. Okay. Because, again, it has to do with that contrast as well. Right. So by having this, this white text directly on the image, now it is bold and it is big, so it's not really hard to read, but you could have some issues. Right. And I think since the image doesn't necessarily, it's more of a decoration for the site, right? It doesn't really add to the content. It's more of just kind of there in the background, and that's the whole purpose of that. If you were to add some sort of overlay between those, I think that would really make that text pop, and people would be able to read it a lot easier. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Further down the page, this larger image down here, it's very apparent. It's extremely pixelated, right? Now, a trick is, I've been telling you, if you have an image and you want text on top of the image, to kind of maybe put an overlay. If you have a pixelated image and you put an overlay, between the text and the image, you're actually going to not notice that pixelated image as much. I do recommend maybe this one. This one is actually not too bad, because your text is actually over here it's not really overlaying the granola, right? It's kind of over on the side in the more the solid color area where the wood is. So this particular one, it works, but then we have this pixelated image that really doesn't look great. Okay, so now a downfall is, if you have a really sharp, crisp image, it could be a slightly larger file size. For the size, I don't think it's going to be too bad, but if you ever find that some sort of accent image that you want to use is too large and it slows down the web page, because the number one killer of web page performance really is the size of your images. So something we should all be conscious of. Okay, but we also have to be conscious of if we're putting too small of images and stretching those out. The small images will load faster, but then we compromise with it not looking crisp and sharp and nice. So
What as a rule of thumb, what's a good size to use for pictures?
okay, well, I mean, so here, if we look on this page here, we have, let's see, how big is this? That's 1200 pixels, right? 1230 pixels or something like that. Okay. I would say that, it needs to be at least that size. I'm on a non-retina display. On retina displays, I mean, supplying large retina images for this, because do you understand what a retina display, how a retina display is different than a non-retina display?
No.
Okay. So on most average monitors, a pixel is a pixel, right? However, on a retina display, a pixel in the web browser is actually 4 pixels on the display. Okay. So, Apple, a lot of the new desktops, you're seeing, 5K, 4K monitors and all that jazz, right? And what they do is, while let's say that this image is taking up 1200 pixels of space, on a non-retina display, that is taking up 1200 pixels wide on the display. It's a 1-to-1 pixel mapping. But on a retina display, there are a lot more pixels on the display. And what's happening is the browser is using 4 pixels for every 1 pixel of the image. Okay? So what's happened, if you want something to look extremely crisp on a retina display, what you do is you actually supply an image that is double the size. Okay. With that said, that is something like this image, would be really big, right? I mean, we're talking 2400 pixels by 2400 pixels or something like that, really big image. And that could cause some performance issues on your website, right? With an image that large. So that's why, we can reduce that down to, let's say, 1200 pixels. And then on a retina display, the image is going to look pretty good. It's not going to look like razor sharp, but it's going to still look pretty darn good. This particular image on a retina display would probably look even worse than it does right now. I'm on a non-retina display right now. So I would say at minimum, do 1200 to 1500 pixels if you're going to be using an image that goes pretty much the full width of the browser. Okay. Now it also depends on the JPEG, right? That's actually an interesting thing is JPEG versus PNGs. Okay. There's 2 different image formats.
Right.
For images like this, you really, really want to use JPEG. Okay. JPEG is a compressed image format, where PNG is uncompressed. Think of it as like a text file versus a zipped text file. Okay. The zipped text file is going to be a lot smaller. Okay. So the compression is in the JPEG. So that's going to give you a much smaller file size. Okay. Now where PNGs are good, where you have to use them, is if you want to use transparencies. So like if you have an icon, like for instance, your logo. Okay. That can't be a JPEG. Okay. Because by default, images are squares or rectangular in structure, and your logo is a circle. So it needs to have some transparency around the outside of the circle so that you don't see it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So in that case, you have to use a PNG. But most of the time, those things are going to be relatively small elements on the page, so the cost of the PNG isn't that great. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there is a third image format that is growing in popularity. You've probably heard it talked about all over the place on the web or in RapWeaver communities and Weaver Space and RapWeaver forums and all that jazz. And that's something called SVGs. Okay. Now in SVG, it is an image, but it's a different type of image. It's more of like for shapes, or kind of more. For instance, are you familiar with like font awesome icons, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so those are a perfect representation of what an SVG could be, right? Where it's just kind of like a single colored, simple icon. And if you were to open up those SVG images, they're actually text. They're actually kind of a version of HTML. Okay, and what's great about those SVGs is the file sizes are extremely tiny, right? Or they could be, because they're just text. And if you were to look at the code inside there, it's basically instructions for the browser on how to draw an image. So why that's important is whether or not you have an iPhone or all the way up to a desktop, okay, that SVG will guarantee to look crystal clear and sharp on any sort of device, any screen, because what it is it's instructions on how to build the image, instead of this pixel is green, this pixel is red, this pixel is black. That's basically what a PNG and a JPEG is. It's basically every single pixel has a color, right? Well, SVGs don't do that because they're infinite. They can scale infinitely, because basically what it says is draw a circle here and then draw a line from this point to this point in the image. And then it doesn't matter what the pixel is. It's instructions to tell the browser how to draw that image. So that's kind of the difference between what an SVG is versus a JPEG and a PNG. There are some apps that people think, oh, I can take, let's say, your logo, or maybe even like this honey jar, and I can make an SVG out of it. Those are baloney. They're lying to you. Okay. All those are doing is taking your JPEG and embedding it inside of a SVG file. It's fake. It's not a true. You cannot create an image like this honey bear or this munchies or anything like that in that SVG format. That format is for very simple kind of logo and shape based things. Just to let you know. So I went off on a little tangent. Do you kind of understand that?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So again, yeah, images. I think if you're going to have an image that's going to go to the full width, maximum I'd say is 2,000 pixels. Okay. Now another thing that you can do is make sure that before you add those images to your site, you properly compress those images. Okay. With another app. I use an app right now called Image Shrinker. It is free. And it's pretty amazing. Okay. So Image Shrinker, let's do a quick example here. Here, let me find a couple images. Let me find one from Adobe stock, actually. Okay, here. Here's an interesting image. Let me move this out of the way so other people can see this. So here's an image. Let's see how big this image is. It's currently 1.1 megabytes. And this is a completely ginormous image. It's like 5,000 pixels by something, right? Here, let me make sure I made a copy of that instead of, yeah, I did. Okay. So I'm going to open this up in like preview. Okay. So this is, first let's go to tools. I'm going to adjust the size. And obviously we don't need a 4,000 pixel image. Okay. So let's do a max. Let's say 2,000 pixels. Okay. 2,000 pixels wide. The resolution here at 300 versus 72, it doesn't really matter. That's not going to affect the size at all. Okay. So just by doing this alone, I've gone from 1.1 megabytes to 195K. Okay. So I'm going to say, okay. Okay. So now I have this image that is 195 kilobytes, and it's still pretty big, right? Oh, preview light, it's 392. Kilobytes, but that's still big, right? So what can we do to further optimize that? So I'm going to drag and drop that onto this app here, and it created another file for me, a duplicate of it, and that one is 73 kilobytes, right? And it's still 2,000 pixels. So let's go ahead. I'm going to open up both of these. Okay. I'm swapping between, let's see, this is the minified one. This is 72 kilobytes. This one is 300 kilobytes, almost 400 kilobytes, right? So there's a little bit of degradation. If you look here, if you're paying attention, very close attention to the red here, you'll see that it's a little pixelization in there. And Image Shrinker has some settings where you can kind of tweak that. Another really great option, let's say I wasn't happy with Image Shrinker here. There are a bunch of other options. Image Shrinker is free. It's an open source app. Another JPEG one that I have is called JPEG Mini. This one costs a little bit more. I think this one's like $20. But I'm really, really happy with this one. It doesn't compress as much as Image Shrinker does. So let's see, after I run that one through JPEG Mini, what it does. It made it, shaved off 100 kilobytes. Okay. So depending on how crystal clear I wanted that image, and that got rid of all those artifacts and everything like that. So, yeah, those between those two tools, there are other ones out there. If you just look at Weaver Space, all kinds of people have their favorite ones. Another one that I use for PNGs is called Image Optum, but my go-to one for at first is this Image Shrinker app. I use this for everything first, and then if I'm happy with the image that I outputted, I use it because it just crushes everything out there in terms of size. I mean, a 73 kilobyte image that's 2,000 pixels wide is pretty darn good. So, hopefully that helps out. Okay, get rid of those. Let's bring back. Oops, where did the window go? Close your site. There it goes. Okay. Any questions before we move on? Jeff?
I'm good.
You're good? Okay.
Yep.
So, next up on here, let's look at, I think this Honey is your store, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Another thing actually about the menu is, you're getting a little bit tight up here.
Right.
Maybe you do a store, as like a main area that has a drop down to the various categories. Just an idea, something like that. Just to kind of, give you a little bit of space up here in the menu. So you could have, home, store, which I think would go up to harvest, or would it go up to nukes? Yeah. So you'd have, that would reduce your menu up here by 3 items, right? And then you'd have B school. Here you have B schools, 2 words. B blog is 1 word. Just kind of think of some consistencies a little bit, the very minor thing, but that definitely is something, this one, it's, separate, that one's together. So this is the first problem we wanted to address today is you're using Rapid Cart, correct?
Yes.
For this? Okay. And no matter what store page we went to, we noticed that, Hives and Supplies had subcategories. I forgot about that. Okay. But if we went to any of these store pages, you notice that all the images are broken. Okay. So what in the world is going on there? And if we open up the development inspector, so if you didn't know how to do this, first off, inside your Safari preferences, this is going to be very helpful. Okay. Go to, I think it's in advanced. No, where is it? Where do you enable developer tools now? That was advanced. Oh, there it is. Advanced. At the bottom here, it says show develop menu and menu bar. Okay. So check that. And what that'll enable is a little develop menu inside Safari. Okay. And if you right click on the page anywhere, you can inspect element, or you can do option command I. I have that ingrained in my brain. I do that a million times a day to open up. And this is something called the Dev Inspector. And what's cool is if you go to this console, okay, and let's refresh the page while the Dev Inspector is open. You'll notice that if we look here, it shows us what all the errors on the page are. Okay. And we'll see that failed to load resource. A server or host name could not be found. And if we look at the URL to these images, it is www.new.rjhoney.com/resources/feedercandy or feedercandyframe.jpg, right? So obviously that's wrong because new.rjhoney.com isn't our website. Our website is rjhoney.com, right? So I'm just curious if I click on this URL, right? Or let's copy this URL. I'm going to open up a new tab in the browser. I'm going to paste the URL to the image that it was looking for, and it can't be found. It doesn't exist, right? But if I modify this and I remove the new, let's see if that works. There's our image. We found it. Okay. Now I've done this enough times. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what the problem is. I'm pretty sure inside your RapidWeaver project. Let me open up a RapidWeaver project here. This one. Insert Jeopardy music here. Okay. So inside our RapidWeaver project, inside the general tab of our project is where we configure the website for the address for the website. Okay. So I'm assuming when you were publishing this or developing this website, you were actually using new.rjhoney.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, what happened when we went to GoDaddy, when they were moving the site, they made our old server old.rjhoney.com, and then they made the new one new.rjhoney.com.
Okay.
And I guess, you know, when the old server, I don't know how they do all that stuff, but somehow they changed it. They said it would revert to, after the old went away, the new would get back to new or just rjhoney.com.
Okay.
So there must be some point in time where that happened, and I didn't know.
Yep. So there are two places inside the project that you're going to want to make sure you fix, and maybe in a few minutes you can share your screen and I can walk you through that as well. And that is in this general tab. There's the web address. We need to make sure that this is set to https www.rjhoney.com. Okay. And there's another place as well now in RapidWeaver 8 inside the publishing settings. You can actually define the web address here as well. So if you leave it blank, it uses what's in the general settings, but a lot of people have them defined in two places. And so we're going to make sure that that is set to the correct URL in both spots. And then we'll republish and go from there. So if you want, you want to do that now?
Yeah, let's do that now.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then you can share your screen.
Okay. There we go.
Cool.
Move this.
Oh, well, we don't want to publish yet.
Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. Another thing, make sure it says HTTPS, because I do see that you have HTTPS configured. So we want to make sure that that is set there.
Okay.
And then how about in the general settings? And that is set correct. Okay.
Yes.
So what's happening is you changed this one, but what you had in the publishing settings was overriding that default setting, which is there. So the solution would have been two things. Either you fix it in the publishing settings or you delete it. It's, both work. So if we go ahead and republish all files now, we should see it work.
It says on there, performing unoptimized export. Is there a way to make it an optimized export, or doesn't that matter?
I'm not sure the why RapidWeaver chose that verbiage. I don't have an answer for you on that one. I'm not sure why RapidWeaver chose that verbiage. There is no way to change that. Does it only do that on, just curious, does that only do that on RapidCart pages? Have you found?
I think it does it on all of them.
On all of them?
Yeah, I've not.
I'm unsure. I'll make a note and I'll look into that.
Okay.
I'll be honest, most of the time I just hit export and then I go off working on something else. I never even noticed it said that.
Well, I thought in previous versions that it would always optimize the images before it published them up. Or at least you had an option in there somewhere. It says, "Hey, check for optimization," but I can't recall. Like I said, I'm just a Lego builder.
Yeah, it's definitely best to optimize them before you add them into the project. Definitely, I strongly recommend.
How do you, when you're talking about optimizing? What does that mean?
Optimizing, that's doing what I just did, making sure they're sized properly, and maybe adding it into that image shrinker app, or one of the other tools. If you have any others that you like, Image Optim is a good one. Image Optim is free as well, or that JPEG mini that I use. So that's what I mean by optimizing images, making sure that they're scaled down properly to the correct size, and then running it through one of those compression utilities to get a little bit extra, size reduction out of the image. Okay.
Well, this is publishing. Did you want to look at the newsletter?
Sure. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that while that's publishing.
Okay. This is a tip I got from you on one of your webcasts. Talk about your blog mail, and I got it, and this is what I've put together. What I'm doing with this is
I don't see. Did you share your whole desktop, or did you share just RapidWeaver?
Oh, I must have just shared that page. Yeah. How do I
click the stop sharing button, and then reshare, and then share your whole screen so we can see everything.
Okay, share computer sound.
Should be the first one at the top left in the.
Oh, okay, desktop there. Yeah, okay.
Perfect.
There we go. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. So I use this theme. What I do for my customers, yesterday you called them NUCs, but they're not NUCs. They're nucleus hives. We sell small 5-frame hive. A regular beehive is 10 frames of bees. Mm-hmm. So we sell in the spring 5-frame hives for beekeepers who either want to expand or beekeepers who lost their bees during the year and need to replace their bees. Mm-hmm. A lot of those are first-year beekeepers that we sell to, and we want to see them succeed in their beekeeping. So previously, I had just sent out an email to a list, and about this is what you should be seeing, and this is what we're doing. This is how your hive should be progressing. And as you saw this, I thought this option would be a great idea to send this out, drive traffic to our website, and perhaps they'll see some things that, oh yeah, and I need to buy this or I need to buy that too. So to get some conversions, some sales conversions off of that.
Awesome.
So, have
you been getting some success, some more sales? Have you seen an increase in sales because of these newsletters at all?
Well, we haven't gotten to that point yet. I mean, we had snow last Sunday. So that is not very good beekeeping.
That is not good beekeeping. No.
So, but as we get into the spring, there's other things that they'll need to look at for purchases, and I'll recommend those as they go along.
Cool.
So,
one thing that I've been trying to do is, I've been trying to increase the amount of email that I've been sending out. And in the past, I felt that the only time I sent out an email was when I had something to sell you. And I felt a little bit bad about that. So I've been trying to increase the value of the emails, right? So maybe an idea is, you have these, I saw you have a blog and some interesting, great blog articles, share those as an email, right? It just purely just by providing value, people are going to see you as a great resource, right? And then just by being on your website in your blog, they're going to gravitate towards your store and purchase things, right? So it's all about providing value, not just, hey, I got this, buy. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
So
that's what this one is about. One of the things is you see there, in the spring you need to inspect and you need to find out, why did my hive die? This
mhm.
one, the stupid mouse got into it and chewed everything up.
Ah,
So,
pests.
but people need to figure out, why did my hive die? And
Hmm.
if you figure that out, that's one step to helping you not do the same stupid thing again.
Yes.
So,
And one thing I see that you're incorporating the colors from your website as well. Make sure that if you redo some of the color scheme from on your main site, take those same changes and incorporate them here in your email as well. Say,
okay,
like for example, that yellow on the top where it says B blog newsletter. The yellow on green, same concept. You know,
right.
um, and that image is a little funky. You have like a bar of white on the top and the bottom. It's a little odd to see those. Maybe choose a slightly different image there. Maybe just having just the RJ Honey icon, would be okay. Would be good there.
Okay.
Okay. But you're liking the email stacks, and those are working well for you.
Yes, I mean it does. It works really well. I'm really
Awesome.
pleased with it. It's
And you're using
easy
Mailchimp
to
with
set
this
up and
service,
easy to
right?
make work.
You said you're using Mailchimp. I think you said.
Yes, I am using Mailchimp,
Okay. Cool.
and I've
And
had.
you find it easy to get the newsletter from this into Mailchimp.
Oh yeah, I mean it works just like you say.
Perfect.
I mean, you go to the mode, and then you just copy this,
Yep.
and you paste it over Mailchimp, and it just works. I mean, it
Sweet.
is way cool. I mean, I like it. I mean, it's simple. I don't. That's all copy paste. I can do that.
You can do that.
I can do that.
Awesome. Good stuff. How's that publishing going? Let's see if that's
Yeah, we're getting there.
almost there. Cool.
The other thing I had with the Mailchimp and with the CTA,
Mm-hmm.
I did put in, in your CTA, when you're using Mailchimp, you ask to put in. There's an API and an ID.
Yes.
Now I found the API and I copied that, and then I found the ID and I copied that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said before, the call to action works, the glider works, but the email doesn't get published back or whatever they do back to the Mailchimp email list.
Mm. Now, actually, do you have a page that still has that on it? How
Yeah,
you
it'll
had it
be
with the
on.
glider?
Yeah, it'll be on the homepage here. This have to get done publishing
Oh,
first.
it's already on there. Cool. I can't wait. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, we'll have a look at that. So what I'm gonna do is once that published and it has that CTA and the glider opens up, what I'm gonna look at is, how when I was inspecting the page and looking at the bad image URLs, I'm gonna do
right.
the same exact thing and see if maybe there's some sort of error that the Mailchimp widget that you're using has. And you're using the Mailchimp widget get provided by Mailchimp, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay.
And that one does publish the email. If I've signed myself up, and deleted myself several times just to make sure that it works.
Okay.
So it does. The Mailchimp one does.
Okay. So yeah, and that's when you have it in the light box like you have right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, last one.
Last one. Boom. And look at that. I'm on the page.
There you are. So it worked, huh? Okay. Cool
Boom.
beans.
Here, go to your store. Let's see. Oh man, the store looks a whole lot nicer now. Amazing.
Yeah, how about that? That's good stuff.
Sweet.
Okay.
Let's have a look at the homepage and see if we could look at that that call to action.
Okay.
So show me what you got set up here. Okay, so in that you have call to action.
So right now I have it, set to
set
none
to
because I'm not
none.
using the glider.
Okay.
So.
Oh no, you're using post office in here. Okay. Okay, got it.
And let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go down to here. All right. So we're.
No, in glider, I think it's towards the bottom is the glider ID. Make sure that that matches.
You over here.
I think it's all the way at the bottom of the settings. There it is. External launch ID glider test. Yeah. And then once per page load. Okay, cool. Do you want to publish this page now that you enable this back on, and we can kind of see?
Yeah.
Let's look at the post office settings really quick though. Let's just have a look at that.
Okay. Yeah, see here that I put the API in and the list ID.
Mm-hmm.
Should this be checked or unchecked? I've tried both. It didn't seem to matter.
Okay, so if you check it, that will unsubscribe the email from your list. So that's not what you want.
Yeah, I tried it both ways. It didn't seem to matter.
Okay.
So, okay.
You just did something that a lot of people don't realize you could do. So you right clicked on that page and said publish page.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great tip just for everyone else watching live is if you want to publish a particular page, let's say you've made a bunch of changes and you don't want to republish everything. You just want to publish that one single page right now. What Jeff did right there is awesome. You just right click on the page, say publish page, and everything for that one page gets published. So good job on that, Jeff.
Thank you.
Cool. Let's hop over to the home page and have a look. Okay, I see it popped down from the top. I see I have a little style conflict with the depth theme. Actually, that close button. I should I'll work with Nick on that one.
Okay.
Okay, so there is. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna type in my email address right now. Hit subscribe, and it says thanks. Interesting.
But if I go to okay. Was it campaigns? Where did I get that? Oh, you did come in. Okay. Now I guess that is working then.
I fixed it just by being here.
Yeah, it the magic is just working. Okay.
There we go.
Oh, cool.
Excellent. I thought that was going to be a tricky one to solve.
I don't know. Maybe it had to do with the publishing with the new .new.
Oh, it could be. It could that could have helped. Yeah, or had some issues with that. Yeah, good call on that one. It could have had some domain issues. So good. I do see that there is a issue with that close button. That glider close button looks horrible. I will make a note of that to get that fixed. Oh, I don't know if I have to work with Nick on it or whatnot, but if it's an issue with the depth theme, but that close button is horrendous. We need to make that look a little bit better for you.
I couldn't. I posted that out on your site there too. I think there's a post on that. I couldn't. There's no way I could ever get it to be a nice, just plain X.
Yeah.
You know, it just always has a square there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's somebody beat that with the ugly stick.
Yeah. We'll make sure we get that squashed. Excellent. Did you? Let's see. Here, I'm going to go ahead. I'll start sharing my screen again. Maybe we'll just in the last 10 minutes or so, we'll just kind of peruse through your site and give you some other generic feedback.
Okay.
Why don't you stop sharing your screen and then I'll share mine. Oops, I need to make it sure so that everybody else can see my screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here we have your nice, beautiful store again. So it seems that maybe your store is split up into consumer and maybe beehive. Like, so you have honey and then you have supplies, and then what's harvest? That's another. So it seems like you definitely have maybe two stores, right? You have your, well, maybe not a 5-gallon bucket of honey, but
hey, people buy them.
Really? Wow.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot of honey.
Yeah.
Is it like restaurants or stuff, or is it actual like just people who want honey?
It's sometimes it's institutions, sometimes it's restaurants, sometimes it is a local beekeeper who ran out of his own honey but wants to keep his customer supplied until the next harvest.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just individual people. Honey will crystallize. Honey is the only food that does not rot or spoil, but it will crystallize. So if you have local honey and it crystallizes, it is not spoiled. What I do is put mine in the top rack of the dishwasher. That will heat it up enough to reliquefy it.
Huh.
And then you're good to go.
Interesting.
But in a big bucket, it will crystallize, and some people call that spoon honey.
Yeah.
And they'll just use it like that.
Okay. Interesting. Learned something new today.
But we do have two separate audiences of consumers. One are people who are not beekeepers generally, who are looking for local honey.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, hobby beekeepers who really are looking for bee supplies.
Okay. So other thing, let's go to this particular one. Here's another example of contrast.
Yes,
even for me, like the white on this light gray is really tough to read. Right? It's really easy for me to completely miss that this bar even exists. Okay? So, I'm thinking maybe you could have two store pages. Maybe if you still wanted to have like a consumer page, and maybe for beekeepers page store or something like that, you could. And maybe use, I don't know if Dep has some sort of like drop down menu that where you can kind of see what the subcategories are. Another thing that you could do is if you were to build a sidebar into the store page, you could have another listing on the side here of, your categories of products, maybe other recommended products. So maybe you can, refer them to other pages or maybe latest blog posts, stuff like that. That's another way of, and on your blog too, on your blog, if, on the sidebar, maybe you could potentially have, referring them to, your store, you go to sites and you have, they have ads, Google ads and stuff. Well, put ads to your own products, right? You don't need to use Google ads, just build ads into your own site, right? Kind of like on, if we look at Weaver Space, right? We go to Weaver Space. If I go to any product page, okay, I have it towards the bottom here, but, here's you may also like, right? This is referring people to other products, right? So it's kind of keeping them on the site, seeing what else they might like, but yeah, I think you could do that, have, especially on the store page over here, you should keep them engaged, maybe have, I think maybe a couple of blog items, maybe your latest blog post, something like that in the sidebar, and then also maybe some categories of, hey, maybe you don't want honey, maybe you want, hive components and hive equipment, right? So I think, having that on a sidebar would be very beneficial. Okay.
Now, would you use the sidebar that's in the Rapid Weaver?
No, I'd probably build it out with stacks. To be honest, you have a lot more control.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. Since you're using a stack-based theme in depth, I would totally use just create like a 2-column layout, and that right column is just a sidebar, right? Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, we talked about this contrast. I think the images, I like the product grid layout. Here, let's click on one of these individual pages. Oh, so you kind of do that here, actually. Nice, good job. So here you have, your bear honey where you can add it to cart, and then you have you may also like. I don't really care for the 4-column layout here. I don't know what sort of control you have here. I would definitely do, maybe a 2x2 or something like that. Just looks kind of funky. And it makes it extremely narrow where you only have 3 words per line. I think, so good that you had this. I hadn't noticed it before. I never clicked through on one of the product pages, but definitely, maybe do a 2x2 here where it's 2, on top of each other. I think that would look a lot better.
Okay.
Now I see you have a star rating system. Are you planning on using that, or what's your thoughts there on this rating system?
Yeah, I do plan on using that. I think I have the SQL database set up right.
Oh, really? Cool.
Okay. So awesome. It goes to that through Rapid Cart Pro.
Awesome. And that's a feature of Rapid Cart? I've actually never used Rapid Cart, so I'm...
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Very excellent. Okay, let's see. Another thing, so like here, I love this category page, but it's very different. You have these store pages that are kind of, very different, right? This hives and supplies kind of goes to a category. This one goes to kind of a generic, just a product grid page. But I think, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think if you were to consolidate all, those 3 store pages into something, I think would be good.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see, what's Nux?
Nukes.
Sorry, I said Nux again. Drats. Okay. This is to keep. Yes, this is to guarantee that your hives are good through the winter, right?
Yes. Well, they're to replace dead bees or to expand your apiary if you want to have more hives.
Okay. Now your general audience might know this or they might not, but let's say if someone comes to your website, I have no idea what a Nux is. Maybe that's something funny you could put right up at the top. What is Nux?
Mm-hmm.
Or nukes. Sorry, man, I did it again. Right? So yeah, that could be interesting. That I noticed also in the forum you have a lot of red. I'm not sure what the red is for. It kind of tells me there's an error somewhere.
Well, I think that's in the form. I chose red to indicate a required field.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I might not do that. Yeah, I wouldn't do that because to me it seems like I did something wrong and I just loaded the page and all of a sudden there's errors. That's what it tells me.
Okay.
Okay. Same thing with this big, huge red bold text. It tells me there's something wrong on this page. So yeah, I would maybe jazz this up. I see no images. Images I think are big. Have some fun. What is nukes? Right? I don't know. Have a little bee with a cannon or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think that would be fun to kind of break up this page. Like, why am I at this page? I go to this page. There's a bunch of text and a form. Like, what's the form for? Maybe have a question of what you're trying to solve on this page. So I think this page could really add some more. You can have some more information. Maybe even like have the form. I'm not sure what form you're using. Maybe you can have it in like some sort of pop-up, right? So that if someone is curious, if they know what nukes are and they're curious, have a big button to submit a request for nukes now, and it opens the form in a lightbox or something like that. You know?
Okay.
Because right now, yeah, this page is, I'm kind of lost. I have no clue what the purpose of this page is.
Okay.
B school. So this is, I'm assuming you have a school for B, you know, you said first year kind of B hivers.
Yeah. See, this is for people who are interested in starting beekeeping.
Okay, got it. You know, definitely you make this more of this definitely needs to be a sales page, right? So you need to have you need to have right up front why who should be visiting this page, right? So are you at the top, do you want to start a beekeeping business, right? Then I know that's if that's true, then I need to be on this page, right? Then you need to list out, why I need to, attend, what you're going to do for me, why are you going to make it easy for me to go to your school so I can start a beekeeping school, right, or beekeeping business, right? So this, a lot of work needs to be done on this page if you want this to be a core part of your business. Immediately you need to tell a person why should they be at this page, what your beekeeping school does, what benefits they bring them, and then a big huge call to action, like again this bee school this button, it's not contrast. You need to have a big button that says register now, classes start, here you say falls are held in October 2018. If you're going to put dates on the website, make sure that you clean them up when that date passes, right? Because it really looks bad.
Right. Yep. I see that. Yep. That's my bad.
Yeah. So, you need to make sure that, if you are going to put a year, maybe, I don't know if you start beekeeping school like every 6 months, if you wanted to keep it static, just say, we have sessions starting every June and October or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that way they know it looks current, doesn't have a year, but they know, next session starts in June, something like that, right? So that's kind of a trick if you don't want to make sure that you're actively maintaining those dates on the website. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely a lot more salesy on here. You need to pitch exactly what you're selling them in big bold text, right? You need to have headers, supply them with images. Maybe if you have some pictures of previous beekeeping school sessions, maybe throw those in there. And this page doesn't really jive with kind of this nicer layout that you have on the homepage, right? Maybe use some of this layout. These look very nice and attractive, right? So kind of keep that theme going on these other pages. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. On the blog, this reminds me of an issue we referred to yesterday on our catch-up call. So nice blog. You said you're using the default Rapweaver blog.
Yes.
And it's nice that Depth theme has a style for that page. You should, you weren't noticing that here it says March 3rd, 2019 for all the blog posts in March, and February said February 2nd, 2019. So I definitely think there could be a small issue. It's something I would address with Nick. I'm pretty sure this day field is set to be the number of the month instead of the number of the day. So it's probably a quick fix. Just message Nick. He's a great guy. I'm sure he'll get back to you on that one. I tried to look in the code. I'm not sure exactly. From what I can see, I can't see exactly what the issue could be. But like I said, I'm sure Nick will fix you up there.
Okay.
Okay. All in all, I'm not sure what options you have. It looks like you're displaying the entire blog post in this feed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there any way that you can have a summary here that requires someone to click through to the blog post to see the full contents?
I think there is a summary option, so I'll play around with that and see.
Yeah, play around with that. Just so especially for longer blog posts, it will allow it to you just have the summary, and that gets someone to click through onto that specific blog post page. And actually, I don't even see how do you get onto an individual blog post.
You got to click the title.
Oh, okay. I don't see if there's an option. images are everyone clicks images, right? I was trying to click this granola image and I couldn't get in, right? Or I don't know if you can have some sort of read button. But these headers weren't to me, I didn't even think to click the header, to be honest with you, right? So I'm not sure. See what Nick has as for options there. If you can have it so the images are clickable, I think that would be really, really nice.
Okay.
Because even I'm a pretty experienced web guy. I was clicking on this image to go to the blog post, So yeah, or either that or have some sort of read now button or something like that. Also, just some small typography things like here, like you have got the munchies. Munchies is lowercase m. This is, a small thing. I see most of your other ones. The titles are correct. So I'm not going to beat you too much on that one. But yeah, let's see. And then your contact form. What you say is contact form. If you wanted, you can probably jazz this up. If you wanted people to know where you were at, you could probably have. You have your address here, but maybe a map, something of that nature. If you wanted someone to call, these, you have links. You have these phone numbers listed here. You can actually make those links, right, and have it so if someone taps on that from their phone, they can call you right now, right? Maybe you could have buttons for that, and you could do that with any generic link. So let's see if we just do. I'm going to just Google telephone link. Here we go. And there we go. So here's the syntax. You just do tel : and then your phone number. Okay. So inside the Rapweaver link tool, okay, whether or not it's a button or a text link, that's what you're going to do. You're going to do tel : and then the phone number. That's it. Right?
That's a good tip.
So yeah. So here, I'll show you a quick example. I don't have that project open anymore. Okay, well that's opening. So yeah, maybe a map here would be good. I see you have links to Facebook. Instead of having like a text link, if you wanted to have like your social media icons, is Facebook social is something that you're really trying to tackle, or no? Or is it just kind of like something that you have, but you're not really serious about it?
I have it. I'm not terribly serious about it. We have an Instagram account. My daughter's kind of handling that for me.
Okay.
So she does marketing and things like that.
An idea. A lot of times, people put that stuff in the footer, right? Have like a little, Facebook or Instagram icon in the footer on every page, so that just has a nice little link to your social profile. So you can start building some links that way, or building your audience that way. That'd be good. And in terms of ideas for your daughter, if she's doing Instagram, obviously video is huge right now. So behind the scenes stuff of life as a beekeeper, I that sounds interesting to me, just videos on, what are we doing today, looking at the hives, or maybe some, I don't know, whatever, just some live video behind the scenes of what you guys are doing, to provide, behind the scenes content. I think it's really interesting. That's what a lot of people are doing now. So I think video is going to be huge, and you can kind of, have a little following of, other beekeepers, following you to see what you're doing. Right. So yeah, that, social could be very interesting. I think, videos are about that could be very good for you.
Nick Cates said the same thing. I talked to him several months ago, and he said the same thing.
There you go. See, great minds think alike.
Yep.
Cool. Well, is there anything else? Any other questions that you were hoping to get?
Nope. I think I covered that. That's been very helpful. I don't know if anybody's posted anything on the YouTube chat, said, "Hey, look at this" or "Look at that," because I don't have that up, of course.
Nope. Just people are enjoying it, but no explicit questions right now. So cool. Thanks for joining today. I appreciate it. Hopefully you got some value out of this.
Oh yeah, it was great. Thanks, lad. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. I'm glad that we were able to do this. I think this is fun. I enjoy, connecting with people and helping them out, use my products better, and, brings me joy too. So thank you very much for joining, Jeff.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thank you. So everybody, oops, or let me, over here. Boom. So everybody, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. Hopefully you got a little bit of, tidbits and joy out of it. Also, you like my new hat. Got a new hat while I was in Vegas last week. Sorry we missed the live stream last week. I was in Vegas. We had some fun. But we're back at the grind this week. Also, just for people that are interested, been doing some great work on Foundation 2 this week. Really excited about that. And, maybe we'll share some details pretty soon on a live stream, kind of give you some sneak peeks on how things are going there. And thank you very much for being awesome Weaverspace customers. Join the Weaverspace community. If you haven't already, go to community.weavers.space. Just a bunch of cool people. I love everyone there. I think it's the most fun community out there. We just help encourage each other. No negativity. It's just fun. So thank you very much for being awesome. Hope you enjoyed this live stream, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.